Hello, love. I am getting excited. I am getting ready to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. So, to all my North Carolina ladies, hello. I am just excited about going there. I think I've flown through Charlotte, but I'm not sure that I've ever been in Charlotte. A very long time ago, I lived in Fayetteville, North Carolina, very long time ago. But I'm excited. I love North Carolina. I love the folks there. I've been to Greensboro a few times, and so I'm just excited to get to Charlotte and see everyone there and see the city. I know, so fun, right? So I'm excited about today's episode. This goes into everything I teach about getting off diets, becoming a diet dropout. I feel like diets for me have been madness. They just kept me on this binge restrict cycle. And the diet industry actually has been around for centuries. I know it's weird to think, right? And way back in 1918, so over 100 years ago, Dr. Lulu Hunt Peters published this book called Diet and Health with Key to Calories. And basically, it started the whole kind of revolution of and concept of calorie counting. You know, you go back to 1963. I couldn't believe this actually, but 1963, Weight Watchers was created. And if I think about just the last 40 years of my life, there have just been countless diet plans, low carb, high carb, no sugar, keto, counting calories, fasting, lots of pills, weight loss surgery, and the whole exercise industry, right? There have been TV shows and all sorts of research studies and all sorts of things. I mean, just so many things, ladies. And it just really astonishes me. And yet, I'm talking to you. You still want to cut carbs. You still want to try the next cleanse. You still want the quick fix. And I say this, no judgment. I did too. I was socialized to believe that dieting was the way. And I know this because a study recently that showed 56% of women had been on a diet in the last 12 months, and 75% of US adults are obese or overweight. I want you to think about that, 75% of the adult population. So obviously, diets do not work. I've said that statistic. It's actually gone up. It used to be 72 and it's gone up to 75% now. But we still are out there looking for the magical potion. I don't think that you or women are broken. I don't think women should be any different than they are. I think you're beautiful and amazing. And I just think diet culture and the diet industry, it is broken and it has left us with trauma. It has left us believing that we are not worthy. Our bodies are not acceptable. We've developed this disordered eating. Our relationship with food is disordered. This is just important to know. All of this, how I started this episode today, is just important to know that is not you. It's them. I say this because, ready? Here's the punchline. Until you believe that diets don't work, until you believe that diets don't work, you will not be able to do the work of long-term weight loss. I know. I was on the diet roller coaster 38 years. I've done all the things. I've yo-yoed every diet, exercise plan, weight loss surgery. I've done it all. All. I tried Fin back in the day. I did all the things. And I felt frustrated, powerless. I felt so powerless. I felt like I was broken. And I was just so over it when it came to my weight, dieting. I was just tired of feeling bad about myself. It affected my relationships, my confidence, even things I wanted to do, because I always had these thoughts like, could I do it? Carrying extra weight on my body made me believe that I was less. Carrying extra weight on my body made me believe that I was less. And it just wasn't the truth. I think about this because it was always in the back of my mind, even when I didn't want to think about it, even when I was like, I'm not dieting, I'm not doing this anymore. Still, it was just lurking in the back of my head. And I think about this time, it was like a corporate thing we did. We went to do zip lining. And when I found out that they were going to weigh you before you went on the zip line, I made up this total excuse not to do it. I mean, I think about that now. The crazy part is at that time, I would have made the weight, but I was so scared that maybe one of my coworkers or my boss, someone would have seen how much I weighed that I just, or even like the little, zip liner person, I just didn't do it. I could think of, and I bet you could too, countless and countless things and times and things where you just sat in the back, where you put a pillow over your lap, where you tried to hide in the picture because of your weight. And I made this decision actually in a Weight Watchers parking lot. This was when I made the decision. Before I had thought about it, I'm not going to diet anymore. I'm so tired. But there was a point, I'll never forget it. When I was in the Weight Watchers parking lot, I had just weighed in 3 weeks in a row. I had gained weight. And I just decided I'm not doing it anymore. I have to find a different way. I had to do it in a way that I could do it forever. And I knew that I was going to eat a cookie. I wasn't going to exercise 5 hours a day. So I had to lose weight in a way that I could always do. And I was not going to do it by restriction and over exercising. I was going to do it by healing, by care, by love, healing the relationship that I had with food, with myself. I was going to get coaching. I was going to start to realize, like, what did my brain, what part of this whole thing with my weight, what my mindset and my brain and my thinking, how did it play a part in it? I knew it wasn't the diet plan. If it was the diet plan, I knew it had nothing to do with motivation or lack of it. I was motivated in lots of areas of my life. I had lots of success. It wasn't any of that. I wanted to figure out what was it. And what I learned was that starting to heal this relationship with food, starting to just meet myself where I was. This is where I was. When I started this, I was eating all the foods and I just met myself where I was. And that when I could show myself some love and some grace, that was the way. I was going to eat all the different foods. And I was going to start to think of them differently. I wasn't going to think of food as good or bad or healthy or not. It was just food. And that is what I've done. See, restricting, telling yourself you can't have something leads to binging and overeating. I mean, these two spectrums, honestly, it's just kept you on the diet roller coaster. But we just keep getting sucked in by the new next fancy thing. The more I do this work, the more I work with beautiful clients and women, I just realize that it's just this process of finding some love and kindness for yourself with some tools and simple techniques that I teach so that you can really start to leave the disordered eating, the diets in the past, and meeting yourself where you're at. I can't tell you how many times I would go from eating all the things, the pizza and all the things. And then, okay, I'm going to eat chicken and salad. I love chicken and salad. There's nothing against it. It's just, I couldn't go from eating all the things to restricting because I could only white knuckle that for so long before I ate all the things. And I found, this is it, ladies, the key to long-term weight loss is learning how to eat all the foods and heal your relationship with food. Again, I eat all the foods. I don't eat a lot of Frankenstein food, I don't know, all the things. Like, we're going to make cookie dough out of cottage cheese. If I want some cookie dough, I'm just going to eat some cookie dough. If I want some cottage cheese, I'm going to eat some cottage cheese. I don't need to make things different than what they are because I can have all of it. I just have these other tools where I can pay attention to my hunger and my fullness. I use my body to help me decide. No foods are off limits. You don't have to cut any food groups out. You don't, my loves. And I know some of you have health issues and you're like, but Shannon, I shouldn't. But you're eating it anyways. I know. And again, you always work with your doctor. You always take advice from them. But what I'm saying is really think about where you're at. And then this process, as you heal your relationship with food, you will find that when you pay attention to your hunger and fullness, that suddenly no foods are off limit. You just know, I don't want to feel sick. I don't want to have a stomach ache. I don't want to feel this way. So I'm going to eat until I start to feel satisfied until I start to feel satiated. Now, here's my take. Number one, enjoy food again. I mean, I had so much guilt and shame about food. It was like my secret thing I would, eat in the car or eat when no one was watching. And no foods are off limit. And start to watch how you label food, good or bad, and your guilt and shame around food. Number two, pay attention to when you've had enough. This happens when you just start to slow down while you're eating so you can enjoy it. I like to advise my clients when they're very first starting this to just start to leave a bite. Just leave a bite so you can start to pay attention to, oh, I left a bite 10 minutes later or however long later. You're like, oh yeah, I didn't, I wasn't hungry for that bite. I feel great. And I got to enjoy a really amazing meal or cookie or whatever it is. Number three, this whole episode is about eating what you love and how it really is the key to long-term weight loss. And this number three is important because checking in with yourself when you're feeling negative emotions. When you're feeling negative emotions, your body wants a dopamine hit. It wants a little happiness. And so it can be a trigger to eat and to unconsciously eat until you want to feel numb. The simple thing to do, and I wanted to give this in this episode because this is a really great question. It gets you into your thinking brain is, am I physically hungry? So when you're feeling negative emotion, maybe you're feeling stressed, maybe you're feeling sad, maybe you're just, you got in a fight with your partner and you're like halfway into the cupboard, right? And you're just like, right? Just pausing and just asking yourself, am I physically hungry? And listen for the response. It just gives enough space in between you and the stimulus to then make a decision for your best self. And number four, trust yourself and your body. Oh, you can do this. Your body is miraculous. Your body is rooting for you. Your body has been showing up for you and doing the best. I think it's such a miracle, actually. The more I learn about the body, I'm like, holy moly, it's such a miracle. You can do this. Now, you may at first overeat, but trust that as you allow yourself all the foods, at first you're going to be like, Shannon, I'm eating all the things. Okay, that's all right. Just give yourself some grace, give yourself some love, because as you start to leave a bite, check in with your hunger, you will find that you will start to find some self-regulation. You'll start to be like, oh yeah, I'm not hungry for this. I could have this, but I don't want it. And when that happens, you're going to be like, what? Wait, I remember, it's still to this day sometimes, my husband will be like, hey, do you want this? And I'm like, oh no, I'm not hungry for it. And every time I still have this little wow, I've come a long way in my life. You will too. And so again, you may overeat at first when you start to allow, because your brain is like, oh my gosh, she's allowing us to eat this. But over time, you will start to regulate, especially all my clients who are in Transform Boss. And as you learn the tools that I teach, because what happens is it starts to lose the power that food has over you, and your body knows what to do. Our bodies really do. It's just we've disconnected and we don't pay attention to them. So you're going to start to allow your body to tell you what it needs, not the mind, the body. Ooh, I know it's so good. Again, love. It is normal to be overweight and be on a diet. That is the culture that we live in. And it's normal to feel frustrated and scared. But I want you to know that you can do it. You can start your weight loss journey to losing weight for the last time in a way that feels like love, in a way that feels like care for you. And you can start to heal this relationship that you have with food and ultimately the one that you have with yourself. And all doing it while you're eating the foods that you love. And if you want to take this work deeper, go to join@transformboss.com. Check us out. I'm a coach and I help women lose weight for the last time by learning how to live their best lives in a body that they love. All right. Bye for now.